welcome back to my channel and yet another video. Today I'll be sharing how I do my weekly check-in, and I'll be sharing for the month, for the first and the second week of January. As you can see, this is the place where I indicate my transactions, and this is where I actually do the actual checking in. So the first thing I want to do is, before I continue, I want to say a very big thank you to everybody who has been watching my videos. I have never posted a video and got so much love in such little time, and I want to thank everybody who went ahead and watched my videos, and I appreciate all your support. Now the first thing I have done is I have taken out all the envelopes that I know have been affected for the past 2 weeks with any transaction, because I have different envelopes, but I've just gone ahead and removed the different envelopes that I know I have touched for the past 2 weeks, and the transactions have affected the amount of money that is in there, and that is what I have gone ahead and done. The second thing I will do is I will take out all of the flashcards. So the other thing that I usually do is I always have a little piece of paper or something of the sort, and I've written my transactions per day, of which will be helpful when I am doing the checking, and be sure not to miss out anything. The other thing that I usually do is I check in for my fare once a week, my fare. And so what I have done is I will write my fare for the rest of, write one transaction for the whole of my fare for that whole week, because if I continue doing one for each day, I will not have enough space to write my transactions for the rest of the month. So I have noticed that I've not indicated the categories that I'm checking in for, so I'll just fast forward over here and I will indicate my categories. That done, let us jump right ahead to the transaction so that I can finish up with the weekly checking. I am trying to have this video not to be too long, so I am doing my best. So let me just zoom you in a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing. The first, I was not working, so I'm supposed to check in from the first, but I will my first transaction was on the 2nd, so 2nd of January, and like I mentioned, I will be checking in for my fare for the whole week, for the whole of that week. So on the 2nd, I will indicate the 2nd to the 4th, and I'll be checking in 300 shillings. The category is transport, and the description is my fare. Then I will go back after I've done the whole checking and confirm with my my flashcards if that is what it's saying in my flashcards. So at the moment I will not be going with my flashcards. The next thing I did on the 2nd was I touched my allowance, and that was 200 shillings. The category was allowance, and I bought something for my hair. On the same day I used up 2,000 shillings. The category was chama. I paid my first chama on the 2nd, and then on the same day I used some money from my extra envelope. If you watched my cash in envelopes, I explained what that is for, and I used 150 shillings, and the category was from my extra envelope, and the description was that I had a short at work. we deal with money, so I had a short of 150 shillings, which I was able to recover afterwards. Again, on the second, my last transaction was 100 shillings, and that was from groceries. The description was for food. So those were all the transactions that I did on the second. I know the spacing will not be enough for this month, but when that happens, I will be able to go to a different page and continue with the same transactions until the end of the month. So I'm not really worried about the spacing that I'll have remaining for my transactions for the rest of the month. So on the third, my first transactions was 100 shillings for groceries. That was for food. My second transaction was for 500 shillings, and I paid for electricity. The description is token. And that was the last transaction on the third. Then on the fourth, there was 100 shillings for groceries again. That's for food. And then I had another unbudgeted expense and that was for 50 shillings from my extra. I think this was yet another short. I'm not sure what this amount was for. It's possible I bought credit, so I'll just indicate credit. And that was the final transaction on the 4th. Then on the 5th, was on a Sunday, so there's no fare. That is why here I indicated my fare was from the 2nd to the 4th. On the 5th was a Sunday. I did not use up any money for fare, but I did buy some groceries, so I used up 250 for groceries. That was for food. So before we continue to the second week, it is important for me to finish up on my weekly here. So we'll go ahead and do the total amount I used for groceries. So on the 2nd I used up 100, and then on the 3rd I used up 100 again, on the 4th 100, and on the 5th 250. So I used 550 shillings. So I spent, I hope you can see, I hope it's clear, I hope you can see, I used up 550 shillings. And going to my groceries flashcard, I put in 4,000 shillings. So 4,000 shillings minus 550, 3,450. And let's just check on the 5th. Actually, there was a problem with this. It's supposed to be 3,450. That is where there's a lot of changes here, but that is the amount of money that I was left with on that particular day, on the 5th. So that amount is fine. And if you have noticed, I'm just checking in for 3 categories. That is my groceries, my fare, and any unbudgeted amount. Next, let's do our fare. So there's 300 over here. So like I said, no breakdown of the amounts of fare, but on the very first day of that week, I just take out the amount that I need. So 300 is the amount that I used for my fare. And on the first of that month, through my cash envelope stuffing, I put in 3,000 shillings for my fare. And I used up 300. So on the 5th or on the 4th, because on the 5th was on a Sunday, I'm supposed to have 2,700, and that is what is indicated here. On the 4th I have 2,700. So I used up 300 shillings, and the balance should be 2,700. So those two for the first week are fine. My last Checkin category is unbudgeted, and that is where I extract it from my extra envelope. So I have 150, and then I have another 50, so that is 200. Used up 200 shillings, and my unbudgeted amount, let me go get it, I don't have it here. Okay, so on the 5th I put in, on the 1st I put in 750, no, I put in 350 shillings, and I have spent 200, so my balance should be 150 as of the 5th. So my last transaction was on the 4th, and that is the amount of money I have. And because I don't think I have any other unbudgeted transaction for this past week, I think I can just go ahead and confirm the amount of money, and that is true. I have 150 shillings in my miscellaneous, or in my extra, which I used, my extra envelope, which I use for my unbudgeted transactions. So that is fine. I just put that aside. So now let's go ahead and move on to our second week, which is on the 6th. So on the 6th, again, I will just indicate my fare from the 6th to the 11th. That is 600 shillings. The category is transport. That is for my fare. Then on the same day, I used up 500 shillings allowance, and I use this for my phone protector. The liquid type, the new type that is everywhere. So I use that 500 shillings to get my phone a new screen protector, or whatever it's called. And then my last transaction on the 6th was 100 shillings, groceries, food. Then let's move on to the 7th. On the 7th, again 100 shillings for groceries or food. On the 8th, again 1,330 from my groceries. I needed to stock up on some food, some hard food, so that is where the amount is so high, and that is again food. On the 9th was the day that I had the most transactions, apart from the 2nd of this month. So there was groceries, of course. And then I paid 200 from water. That was a bill. Then 200 for garbage. Again, that was our bill. And then the last thing I did on the 9th was, transaction was for 3,000, and that was the other chama I was talking about. And so I've already cleared out with my chamas. I don't have that money with me. And then on the 10th, there was 100 shillings, groceries, food. And then the last transaction was yesterday, the 11th, and that was for groceries again. do not have any transactions as of today, the 12th, and I don't think I will be having any because I don't plan on buying anything. I have everything I need in the house. So let's go ahead and finish up the second week. So we'll start with groceries again from the 6th. So we have 100, then 100, then 1330, then 100, then 100, then 100. So for this week I have used 1,830 for my groceries, and as of this 5th I had 3,450, of which I have indicated 3,350. There's a mistake that happened over here. Somehow that 100 shillings I spent it elsewhere, so we will be using 3,350, and then I will rectify and return the 100 shillings from somewhere. So I'll be using up 3,350 because, as you can see here, the balance was supposed to be 3,450. So I'll be adding the 100 shillings later. Now 3,350 minus what I have spent for this past week. So my balance is supposed to be 1,520. Because you're not checking in for another week, we can go ahead and confirm the amount. So this is the receipt. I've already used it to indicate the figures here, so I will not be using it again. So I have 1,500, and like I mentioned, I have a little slot at the back of my little thing, and this is where I use to throw in any change that I have. So the 20 shillings is in here. So I have 1,520, which is what is indicated here, and I'll just go ahead and return the cash envelope with the money, the flash card with the money inside the cash envelope. Next is my fare. So on the 6th my fare is 600, and according to the last check-in I'm supposed to have 2,700. So 2,700 minus 600, I'm supposed to have 2,100 in my envelope, and according to my flash card I have 2,000. So again 100 shillings is missing. I'm not sure how this is working, but I'll find out where the problem might be, and then I'll sort it out of camera. I don't want to bore you with that. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that is 2,100 shillings is missing. I will go back and check everything, and then I'll confirm what the problem might be, because I am not sure what the 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure what the problem might be, but I'll go back and check it out, and by the time I'm doing the next checking, everything will be rectified by then. So my last checking is unbudgeted, of which I do not have any unbudgeted, so I'll just indicate 0, and my balance will still remain 150. But I still want to go ahead and get the envelopes that were affected and confirm the monies that are in there, because I'm noticing something weird going on. So I'll just go ahead and do the totals. Like my allowance, we'll start with my allowance, so that is 200, and then let's check if there's another allowance. Then on the 6th there's 500, and then that's it for my allowance. So 700 shillings was used up for the past 2 weeks in my allowance from my allowance envelope. So my allowance envelope, I put in 1,650. So 1,650 minus 700 that I've used up already, I'm supposed to have 950 in that cash envelope. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 950. 5, 6, 7, 8, 950. So that is fine. That is what I have in my flash card. Next will be chama, so there's 2,000, and then let's see if there's another one. Yes, on the 9th 3,000, so that is a total of 5,000. And on the 1st I put in 5,000 shillings, so minus 5,000, I'm supposed to have 0 in that cash envelope. It's empty. The cash envelope is empty. Next I will be doing the electricity, the utilities and all that. So I have 500 for electricity, and then there's 200 for water and 200 for garbage. So I used up 900 shillings, and according to my flash card I put in 1,400. So 1,400 minus 900, I'm supposed to be having 500. That is what is indicated in my flash card. Let's just confirm in my envelope, and indeed have a 500 shilling note in that envelope. 500 shillings in that envelope, and that is going to be used to buy electricity token on the 15th of this month, of which I think we are doing so good, because right now we are not even halfway of what we already bought, and today is on the 12th. So I might prolong the purchase of that electricity token until we are very low on that. So that is what I'll be checking in for this week, for the 2 weeks, the first week and the second week of January. And again I will go back and check out the 2 issues over here, and if there's a problem with the monies, I will just find somewhere to return that money, because it's budgeted for. It's supposed to be there for the purposes of me having a sane mind this month. So thank you so much for taking the time and spending this time with me, watching my videos and giving me all that support. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the little bell icon so that you can be notified when I post a different video. Also check out my schedule video where you can find out what I'll be posting on which day. And I thank you for your support, and I hope I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.